I have stopped reading pretty much entirely. And that's kind of strange, considering the fact that reading is one of the main themes of this channel. I still advocate for it, I still believe it's one of the greatest things you can do to improve yourself, but I've stopped doing it. Why is that? The easiest excuse I could come up with was time. Just look at my upload schedule. Thing is, you can also look at my screen time, and that excuse collapses pretty quickly. Maybe I've already absorbed all of human knowledge. The truth is that I've never really liked reading. It was monotone, it was repetitive, it was always something that I didn't want to do. I'd go as far as to say that I hate reading, and it has never engaged me in the ways it engages other people. There are a few exceptions, though. There have been books that I truly loved, but even then I moved slowly, and I use the excuse that it's to absorb them gradually and live the literature. But really, I'm just not motivated to finish them faster. Now, if I were a regular, modest, mentally sane individual, that wouldn't be that much of a problem. Oh, you don't like reading. Welcome to 90% of the population's opinion. But there is a problem. I run multiple social media accounts discussing philosophy, AI ethics, and politics. All of these things require copious amounts of knowledge to be able to comment on them. And I can't really make good content if I'm not well informed. And trust me when I say this, because I have tried. And watching Alex O'Connor, John Oliver, and unsolicited advice clips from time to time is not gonna be enough. Probably. Most channels in my niche, most channels like mine, recommend books more than their own preachings. And honestly, I would do that too, and probably should do that too. But I'm an exception because my videos are mind-numbingly ingenious. So what now? It is logically impossible for me to use the time excuse. I'm a 14-year-old uncultured little boy, so I can't really just vomit knowledge into my phone camera and hit post. So I have to read, right? Well, yes. But there is, in fact, something else. Something else that is essential when it comes to knowledge. Knowledge doesn't always have to be extracted from something or handed to you. It can also be created. I sometimes find myself referencing the things I've written in my own scripts for YouTube videos and shorts just as much as I reference the things that I've read. Maybe even a little bit more. Is it because I'm a narcissist? Yes. But it's also because creating your own knowledge, your own Frankenstein information through logic and rational reasoning and thought is just as useful as reading it somewhere else or seeing it, extracting it from a piece of art or graph or anything else. In my opinion, it's exactly like math. You don't understand mathematical formulas by reading them. You truly understand them only when you understand why they make sense. What principles drive that principle? How did Pythagoras come up with that crazy triangle idea? Wisdom works the exact same way, but with a tiny bit of an exception. You need a somewhat solid foundation in the subject you're creating knowledge in. You need to understand that the USA is here and Europe is over here before talking about Ukraine and military aid to Ukraine and oh, the USA is I don't know what with Ukraine. You need to understand where those two things are on like a global map to truly be able to make assumptions. You need to understand what existentialism is, what absurdism is, what nihilism is, before comparing the very thin differences between all three philosophical philosophies. Once you have that base, only then can you truly start building ideas that are truly your own. Thing is, that's already an immense achievement. One most people will never reach. I'm not making this video to convince you that reading is optional and that critical thinking and rational, deep thinking is enough. But what I am trying to say is that if you're not reading 12 hours a day, it doesn't mean that you aren't growing. That if you're scripting, writing speeches, giving speeches, thinking critically, debating, all of these things contribute to intellectual growth. Maybe just as much, or if not just as much, in my opinion probably, even more than just sitting with a book. In those cases, you aren't only consuming, you're creating, filtering, criticizing your own thoughts, and maybe, just maybe, even sharing them. And remember, the great writers of philosophy, the ancient writers of philosophy, and great ancient thinkers, they didn't have anyone to read. The only thing they had was nature and their own minds. Maybe that's why we are still reading them today. But with all that said, check your screen time, however large or little it may be. Click off this video and maybe use some of that wasted time. If you consider it wasted, I don't know, it's your opinion, your personal choice. And maybe use that time that you would have spent on your phone reading. It is one of the greatest habits you can adopt to build a stronger, more rational mind. But I think I do prefer other things. But reading, it even reduces stress, apparently. And remember, do not feel ashamed if you're not blasting through 1,000 pages a day. Because that shame, I've felt it, and it is not worth it. Read when you want to. Read when you want to obsess over a topic. Read when you feel as if your life demands it. Not out of obligation. Not out of an obligation you created for yourself, and so that you don't feel like a fucking fraud. I'll see you later. Smarter and stronger than ever.